Hi, this is Vinita Bhatia from Campaign India, and I'm here to understand what does it take to keep a brand ticking. And there's one thing that's very evident: time and Timex. Don't wait for anyone. I have with me Mr. Deepak Chhabra. He is the MD of the company, and I'm going to understand from him about the scorching pace that the company has set in this recent months. Just 2 months after it decided to bring on board Aston Martin, the luxury brand for the distribution and, well, manufacturing too, right?
Yeah.
And the manufacturing, as he rightly said, of this uber luxurious brand. In earlier this month, the company also acquired 100% stake in yet another brand. It's called Daniel Wellington. And today, we are here to understand how is it that the company is going to take this brand to the masses using its time-tested strategy. Deepak, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Pleasure, Manita.
And firstly, congratulations on onboarding your brand ambassador for TW, as you call Daniel Wellington. How is it that you decided to choose Sharvari for this?
Daniel Wellington as a brand is known for its, timelessness, known for its style, known for its minimalism. It's a Swedish brand after all. While we were on the lookout of who should be the brand ambassador for this brand, Sharvari came across as a straightforward choice, precisely for the same reason what brand is known for. She is very effortless. That was an obvious choice for us, and we are very happy to partner with her and excited to launch it.
When it comes to the selection of a brand ambassador, a lot of things need to be considered. A, the brand's ethos. B, the kind of cohort that it's going to address. And more importantly, how that can translate into some kind of brand salience, ergo even sales. So how is it that do you have any parameters that you use to identify the right kind of fitment in a personality who will get associated with your brands?
Sure. So, Vanita, we haven't signed as of now, all four of them, but we do have plans to sign for four of our key brands. We're talking about Guess, Timex, and Versace, and of course, Daniel Wellington, which we are announcing today. Uh, so, what we look at is, we look at the persona of the brand, and we try to match the persona with the testimonial, because both of them have to go hand in hand. Otherwise, it doesn't work. For example, as I was mentioning, Daniel Wellington is very classy. Guess is very loud. It's very maximalistic. So for that kind of brands, requirement is very different. Uh, and Versace is again very classy. It's amazingly classy, fashion luxury brand. So over there, we need a certain sort of maturity in your brand ambassador as compared to Guess, where you need more of youth, more of energy. And Timex is, of course, it's very different brand. It's more of accessible, fashion which we are trying to target. So the celebrity has to be relevant to a large set of consumers, probably middle class and upper middle class. So these are the factors which we look at. Are they when they look at the celebrity or the brand ambassador, can they, without even telling, can they understand which brand we are talking about? And that's where the differentiation is. Within the same group, we have very different kind of plans to have endorsements, because it works the best when the persona of the celebrity and the persona of the brand matches.
Timex Group recently completed the acquisition of Daniel Wellington after a 3-year partnership. It had a 25% stake earlier. So I wanted to understand, where does a brand fit into your portfolio? Does it fit into the value sector? Does it fit into the bridge to luxury segment, where you also have Adidas, Nautica? You mentioned about Guess.
Sure.
So where exactly does it fit?
Sure. So largely in our portfolio, there are four segments. One is which is prestige,
Mhm.
which is less than 10,000 rupees retail. And then we call fashion, which is largely between 10,000 to 25,000. And then we have bridge to luxury, which is 25,000 up to a lakh of rupees. And then beyond a lakh, it's luxury. So if you see our portfolio of brands, so luxury is covered by Versace and Salvatore Ferragamo. Bridge to luxury is covered by Guest Collection, Aston Martin, and Philip Line. Fashion, we have a lot of brands. But what we were missing is a minimalistic brand. most of our brands either are fashion brands, pure fashion brands, or they are very complex, maximalistic brand. Uh, so minimalism is in thing in watches. We wanted to cater to a consumer who wanted to spend, say, 10,000, 25,000 rupees, but doesn't want flamboyance of, say, guests. They want something which is a bit more classy, which is design led, and is not very loud. And that was not there in our portfolio. DW perfectly sits there. And we actually acquired 51% about 2.5 years back with the right to acquire the balance at a predefined valuation. And that right we executed, 3 weeks back. And now it's a wholly owned brand in our portfolio.
There are brands which also sit in the 10,000 to 15,000 bracket. Now, that seems to be a very sweet spot, if
Sure,
I were to
sure,
call it, for
sure,
Timex. In fact, half of your recent growth has come from higher volumes
sure,
and half from rising average selling prices.
sure,
And yet, Timex has identified this sweet spot as a major opportunity.
sure.
So, what exactly makes that segment so strategically important for Timex?
So, very frankly, all four segments are growing very fast, but the size of each segment is different. So it's like a pyramid. Luxury, the size is very small. Even if it grows at 100%, it will still remain small. Yeah, by number of units, because that's how the demographic is. When I talk about fashion, which is 10,000, 25,000, that is the one which India is consuming a lot because of premiumization. Post COVID, everybody is investing more, indulging in fact in more things, whether it's big cars or big houses, and same thing is happening in watches. So somebody who used to invest less than 10,000 rupees now doesn't mind investing 20,000 bucks. So that segment is also growing very, very fast.
Mhm.
And the bottom of the pyramid, that is growing because of first time purchase. India is growing well, so there are a lot of people who are buying the first watch. So all the four segments are growing, but premiumization is leading the fashion segment, which is 10,000, 25,000, in a much larger way. So people are graduating from 5 7,000 to 12 15,000, and that is fueling the growth.
Now, if you look at the first time buyers and also the fact that, we have the largest youth
Sure.
population globally, many of these first time buyers, when they go for it, either are gifted a watch
Sure.
rather than, buying it themselves. And in this kind of a space, how are you going to try and give DW the right positioning so that it becomes a first point of reference to them?
So, as I said, if somebody is looking for a very loud, maximalistic watch, DW is not for them. But the trend is moving more towards very clean watches, amazingly clean. To be frank, generally every watch has three hands: hour, minute, and second. DW doesn't even have a second hand. It is hour and minute. It's so minimalistic. If you look around the ecosystem within our group or say the competition, there is no brand which caters to a consumer who actually needs some very classy watches which they can wear to office, they can still wear for a party, yeah, which is like timeless sort of. So the segment is becoming bigger, the competition is not there, and that's where DW is growing fast. And we, after acquiring, of course, we are also changing the product profile. We are making a bit more wider. DW was largely built on five families, but we realized that we need to expand the product portfolio and also add few entry price points to cater to consumer who want to invest, say, $100, not $150. So with all these measures, we feel this will be the fastest growing brand in our portfolio.
So if you're looking at the first time buyers, I'm guessing a guess would be a more optimal choice for them,
Sure,
given the fact that it's a very bold
sure,
brand and like you said,
sure,
it's led by
sure,
pop
sure,
culture as well. But even within that, how you mentioned about competition.
sure,
So the competition also has a lot of similar bold
sure,
iterations that are there. How are you going to make your brands become the first point of reference?
sure. So entry price point, keeping in mind our demographic, our country's demographic, is essentially less than 10,000. And these are the people not because they didn't wanted to buy a watch, they couldn't buy a watch because of, you know, because of the affordability around. India just has about 16% of watch ownership. So there are more than 80% people who do not wear a watch, not out of choice, but largely they can't afford. So with the large population coming out of poverty line and getting into lower middle class and middle class, that is fueling the bottom of the pyramid. But there, affordability still means it's less than 5,000 rupees. And that is where I was talking about. It's more to do with Timex, more to do with the competition, say, title. And the premiumization is helping the fashion segment who already own a watch. Now they want to graduate to a higher price point and want to experience a bigger brand. So, fashion segment is led by that, not by a first time purchase. First time is
Affordability.
affordability, and over there, Timex is doing amazingly well. So, all the volume growth we spoke about came from largely from Timex. Value growth came from all other brands because over there the price points have gone up because consumers need to pay more if they find a value in what we are offering them.
So you mentioned about affordability. There is another thing that has also been, I wouldn't say a challenge, but that has been kind of a hurdle in the field of horology, which is accessibility.
Sure.
In the good old days, one would
Sure.
have to go to a physical store,
Sure.
go through various things, get confused, then
Sure.
realize they did not really get the kind of
Sure.
product because the store did not have the entire inventory. Online channels now contribute almost 40% of
That's correct.
Timing Group's
That's
business,
correct.
and of which quick commerce is also
Sure.
beginning to
Sure.
contribute a significant portion, and I believe you expect it to double that contribution. But there is one challenge when it comes to online and quick commerce, and which is the trend of discounting. So, when you're looking at the fact of affordability, maybe this is a great channel. But at the same time, if you're looking for your fashion brands, the same tactic of discountability can work against it.
Sure.
So, how do you safeguard your brand's ethos so that it does not get diminished in
Sure.
these cases?
Yeah, no, but that's a very good question, very frankly. I'll probably cover it a bit more than what you have asked. The online ecosystem supports the brands which are not very costly. Yeah. The second you get into higher price point, online contribution becomes way lesser. Somebody wants to buy a Versace, for me, the contribution online is 10%, while for the company it's 40%. So the second you go up the price ladder, the online contribution reduces because people want to visit the store, try it out, see how it looks on them. So now the lower price points, which essentially I would say about 25,000, which includes my masterpiece as well as fashion. Yeah, the online is becoming big, and quick commerce is becoming gaining a very meaningful share. So about 8% of my total e-commerce business comes from quick commerce as of now, but that's expanding very fast because more dark stores are being opened by all the quick commerce player. Now the question of discounting, so of course a brand being discounted is never good. Yeah, it's never seen in the right light. Uh, Although you may have a very different product on online versus a very different product offline, uh, but a brand is discounted. But we have to also see that's the ecosystem. That's how everybody does. I always say, I'm largely a footwear technologist by profession, by qualification. So I worked in Nike, Skechers, Crocs. So there cannot be a bigger brand than Nike. It's also discounted
True.
because that's the ecosystem. Now you have to choose. You don't want to participate in it, or then your reach will be very limited because India you can't cover through physical stores. But if the ecosystem and everybody is doing the same, it doesn't impact. It impacts when everybody is selling a full price, you are selling on discount. But if everybody is discounting on that ecosystem, but the product is different from what they're selling on offline, I think it's okay. Otherwise, you need 30,000 stores to cater to the whole country, which is not possible.
Timex grew almost 50% in a market
Sure.
that grew by 12%. And you have 15 brands, like you said, prestige, fashion,
Rich to
premium,
luxury. Yeah.
and luxury, if I were to. So if you have all these 4 tiers, how do you also ensure that each of them don't have any kind of a spillover?
No, that's firstly done on the selection of the brands which we bring into our portfolio. So if you look at all our brands, they are catering to a very different consumer set. Price point is one, but watches are bought by the occasion on which you want to wear them. So Aston Martin and Adidas caters to sports, and Aston Martin to be very, particularly if you talk about motorsports.
Correct.
Yeah. So and but they are in different price point. They're not cannibalizing. Adidas is more affordable as compared to Aston Martin. Guess versus Versace, they are both, fashion brands, but they are in a very different
Completely different price brackets also.
different price bracket. BW is altogether very different. There's no other brand, not only in our portfolio, but in the whole, ecosystem, which is catering to a consumer who needs a very classy, minimalistic, very clean watch. Yeah. And then you have Ted Baker, for example. Ted Baker is like, uh, it's like a more womenish brand, largely catering to women and English heritage. Yeah. So it's very different from Guess. Yeah. Timex, Timex, cuts across all of them, but it caters to a very different consumer because of the price point it caters. So if you see all our brands, they are catering to different set of consumer. So cannibalization is not an issue at all.
Mhm.
Even if they're catering to the similar consumer, but they are catering to different price point within that set. So we're trying to ensure that in our portfolio we have brands which cater to the entire ecosystem, and that's how you will grow. If you leave certain segments for somebody else to cater, then you'll be only eating into your own brand. So I cover entire consumer set across price points and varying occasions with a combination of my brands now, which I have. So that completes my portfolio. We can always add few more. Uh, but till now, none of the brand are competing with each other and cutting each other. Everybody is helping me grow more because I am catering to a set of consumer which I was not able to till that time. So every brand is contributing to the growth rather than addition of a brand and reduction in revenue of any existing brand. That hasn't happened, and that's what we feel that now we are more or less complete. Now we have to grow the brands which we have rather than finding gaps in our brand portfolio.
You have 15 brands that are there. Within that, you have the various product lines and SKUs that are there. Now, in the world of watches that are there, they are seasonal spikes that one
Sure,
sees. There are
sure,
special occasions, like you said. There'll be
sure,
occasions when you suddenly see an uptake in the business. How do you, map out your entire media investments in a way
sure,
that you're able to cater to all the 15 brands, reaching out to all the cohorts,
sure,
and ensuring that the distribution takes place equitably?
sure. Yeah. So the good thing is, the if you see the whole calendar, buying is concentrated in few months, led by some triggers. It could be Diwali, it could be Christmas, it could be New Year, it could be Valentine, it could be now the newer, properties
Friendship
being
Day.
created. Yeah, Friendship Day, Father's Day, Mother's Day. So all our brands, or rather the consumption, it's not only related to our brands. Consumption is triggered by these, properties which are there, and they become relevant to all our brands. So it's not that Versace will have a different season versus Timex.
Fair.
It's only different consumer, but the festive or the triggers are same for all my brands. So my seasonality remains same for each and every brand.
Correct.
But now the whole thing is, how do you how do you cater? How do you distribute? Yeah. So few of the brands who are more online driven have a cycle prior to offline. Online, what they have done is very very smartly, they take the wallet share way before the season comes. For example, Diwali. If Diwali is first week of November, the online events we start in September, and by the time people go out in the market for shopping, the wallet has become lighter. So if you are any brand which is online driven, has a bit different cycle than the offline. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I think the triggers are same, the festivals are same. Of course, regionality is there. Onam comes first, and then Durga Puja comes, but that's relevant to all our brands. That's not relevant to any one particular brand. And on top of that, I don't know if you are aware, uh, about 40% of watches in India are not sold for self consumption. So 40% of the industry works on gifting. 60% is for self-consumption. So India is a land of festivals. So now the seasonality is creeping a bit. I remember, about half a decade back, there used to be Diwali used to contribute, 30% of your business. No more. Now people buy and consume when they feel like.
Mhm.
Yeah, although the spike comes, but they are not so contrast that versus quarter two, quarter three will be very big. It will be a bit different, but difference will be 5-6%. So that seasonality is shrinking because uh, there are a lot of festivals now every month, and consumption is not driven by festival now. Consumption is driven by, when you like it, you buy it. So you have to be ready all the time. So that's where the cycle, product cycle is shrinking. Now you don't have only two drops, summer, spring, summer, and fall, winter. You actually have four drops.
Correct.
You have a holiday, after fall, winter, and you have another drop between spring and summer, rather than spring, summer being one. Because there's so many triggers and so many, festivals where people are consuming, and you have to give something new.
But what about the media spends? The reason I asked
Sure,
you about
sure.
media spends is because
Yeah,
you have a Versace
yeah,
and you have an
yeah,
Aston Martin.
yeah, sure,
Now, let's say whenever the F1
sure,
cycle comes, I'm sure
sure,
that is when you would
sure,
really want to push
sure,
out
sure,
the
sure,
invest a lot more. But
sure,
there's also a way to reach out
sure,
to the
sure, sure,
motorsports aficionados. It would be through experiential marketing a lot more
sure.
rather than just a traditional media. Similarly, if it's for fashion brand, you might want to be associated with any of the fashion led events.
Sure.
So what are the various legs that you have to your
Sure.
media planning, and where are the investments going? More towards the digital, more towards experiential,
Sure.
more towards traditional?
Sure. No, absolutely. So every brand has a different, media, if I say, or even the content is different for every brand. Few of them are very targeted and hugely digital led. A few of them we do use traditional mass media as well. It depends on the brand. But what I would like to share with you is, one is the brands which we own ourselves. We do invest, as a percentage higher amount. So, for example, in Timex, we do have some brands of Timex, Helix,
Mhm.
and TMX. The investment is in the range of 11.5% of our revenue. But when it comes to licensed brand, it drops to 6.5, 7%, because licensed brand, you have taken license because they are already an established brand,
Correct.
and the brand itself in the core category is already investing in building the brand. So you just have to take the category ownership, yeah, rather than building the brand. Versace, I don't have to build. Versace, is building themselves,
Mm.
and it's already built, in fact. And now they're building, they're strengthening the brand. So what I need to invest is, I need to take ownership and improve relevance and consideration of watches in Versace. So category ownership,
Got it.
and that is where we invest less and get benefited by the brand who invests, and that the money which we save goes as a royalty to them. So I need to manage my P&L as well. So that's how largely it works. Say 12% roughly on Timex, which is our own brand. Now Daniel Wellington also will fall there because now it's our own. All licensed portfolio works at about 6-7%, and that's how it is. Now, where do we invest? What are the vehicles which we use? What kind of content we create? So across all our brands, it's more or less digital now. Digital led by social influencer, and then PR led. And then the third bucket is events. Yeah, it's more to do with, like, say, the traditional mass media is very less and is restricted to only our Timex and our sub brands of Timex, where I need to reach out to millions and millions. For Versace, I just need probably 200,000 people. For 200,000, I need to target, say, about 4 million people. I don't have to talk to the whole world.
Yeah.
So that's very targeted. It's very niche. It's very, the content itself or the influencer choice is very different. But largely it is digital now. And when I say digital, of course, social plays a very big role, and influencer network is becoming big. I think we activate about 1,000 influencer every year across
Okay.
all our brands. Yeah. And then events we do a lot, which are again more of influencer events. So you bring together about, say, 80-20, 80-100 influencers in one city, and the next day you are reaching to about 22 million people through that. Yeah. And then beyond that, uh, yeah, say, print media and all, we print or TV, both we only consider for Timex because over there I have to reach out to about say 200 million people. And then we do a sponsorship of a lot of events, fashion events. We are part of India Beach Fashion Week. We are part of Meso Fashion Week. We are talking about Times Fashion Week, which is Delhi Times, Mumbai Times, Bangalore Times. They have about 22 editions. And then to gain more eyeballs, we sponsor IPL. We sponsored Gujarat Titans. We sponsored Punjab Kings. Not that we want to get associated with sports, but cricket is a religion.
And
So if you,
cyborgs,
yeah,
right?
yeah, if you want to reach out to a billion people, that's the cheapest medium you can choose. You be on their jersey, and the TV does the game. So over there, the objective is to reach out to a lot of people rather than relevancy, because 1 billion you reach, but that's the reach you need for a brand like Timex. Uh, but beyond that, we do not do much of traditional media if you like it. But what is replacing that is fashion magazines. And now uh, with celebrity endorsement, you know, we'll also invest a lot more now in our point of sale,
Okay.
because now you have assets which are recognizable.
Right.
Till now, we were putting across beautiful shots of watches or some foreign models, which came as an asset from our group company. Now you have more cultural relevance by having a local face
Correct.
for the brands. So there'll be more investment in point of sale now, online, offline, both.
Okay.
We do have our dot coms, we do sell on Mintra, we do sell on Flipkart, and all the portals. Now we'll be investing a bit more on them because now you have an assets which are more impactful and better ROI can be generated.
So my last question
Sure.
to you, Deepak: 15 brands. How many of this brand watches do you have, and which one is your favorite?
Honestly, I only wear Timex. One is that's my own brand.
Mhm.
It has a legacy of 172 years. So the biggest lever for my growth lies in Timex, if you ask me, and it's purely coming from demographic. We do talk about luxury a lot, but say there are only 5 million people who potentially can wear a watch which is less than more than which is more than 1 lakh. And you know how many people who can potentially wear a Timex? 400 million.
Okay.
400 versus 5 million. And say we talk a lot about fashion also. That segment is 50 million, and there are only two players.
Okay.
Only two players. Title and Timex. So it will be eaten by both of us only. So that size of the market is humongous, and middle class will always remain the largest segment. Is estimated at about 50 million people will be coming out of poverty line every year now.
Correct.
So they'll be buying the first watch, and they'll not be buying Versace. They'll be buying Timex. Although, as I said, we talk about a lot of premiumization, a lot of luxury consumption, but if you see the pyramid, it is shrinking. The number of consumer who buy there, even if that grows at 100% every year for the next 10 years, it will only become 30 million. Wherein the bottom of the pyramid is growing fast. Even if it grows at 10%, it adds another 20 million people.
Mhm.
So that's where the money lies. And most of the time, not most of the time, all the time, I'm in my Timex
Okay.
because the first time purchase, 16%, it will become 50% sometime, maybe 15 years, 20 years. Today, only 16%, have a can afford a watch. And when they become 50, the biggest chunk will sit here, will not sit here. Yeah, so
Kind of makes sense. Well, thank you so much, Deepak, for taking the time to
thank you,
speak to
Vanita.
me.
Thank you.
And there you have it. How is the best way to get your brand endorsed? You can definitely have a celebrity to do it, but why do it when you can flaunt it on your breast? So here's Deepak, who actually is a walking, talking endorsement of Timex. Thank you for watching Campaign India. Stay tuned for more. So if you like the video, here's what you need to do. Click like, follow, and subscribe our channel. Hit the bell icon right below. And more importantly, drop us your comments. So go on, do your thing.